All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is May 29th, 2018. This is a Tuesday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Open Topic Training. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars, or our live trading room should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, I'll go through some of that, like a detailed description of like the one-up trading. We'll go through that even tonight if you want. All right, so the first topic that came up, let's see, can you talk about the bar colors, what they mean and what you look at? Okay, keep those questions coming in and I'm going to try to get to every single one of them, okay? All right, so let's see, the first question that came in, and I'm not exactly sure, Bill, can you explain that one to me? Or you're talking about the threshold value, you mean of one-up trading? Are you meaning how they liquidate you, or what are you getting at? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. Like if you hit their threshold of the day's low or something like that? Let's go ahead and take a moment, and I'll go through one up real quick. Just one sec. Let me get to their website. By the way, keep those questions because they stay on the board here, and I will try to get to every single one of them. Okay. All right. But first off, Bill's question was he was wondering how one-up trader actually works on the threshold, I think is what he was saying. For instance, the one that I actually started myself was the $50,000 account, okay? And this is kind of grayed out a little bit, but I'll put my cursor here so you can see it better. Basically, the $50,000 account allows you to trade as many as 6 contracts. Okay, if you try to trade 7, believe me, they'll give you a message you can't do it. All right, and you have a $3,000 profit target, and you have 15 days to get there, but you do have to trade 15 days. I'm already there, but unfortunately, I've still got 4 days left on my evaluation, so I have to keep trading to, go through the 15 days. Okay, but I think what Bill's talking about possibly is this daily loss limit, because all you got to do is hit that during the day, and they will liquidate you, for that particular day. And then you have a chance to trade again tomorrow, but your total max drawdown is $2,500 on this particular account. Now that means, of course, if you hit $2,500 in a penny, then you're going to have to reset the account to ever start trading again with it. Is that what you meant, Bill? Because I hadn't really planned on going through one up today. Okay, that's what you were talking about. Let me show you a couple of other things just real quick for anybody that's really looking at one up, okay? One up only has you have to get to their profit target one time. You don't have to evaluate twice. Okay, now I'm not here to try to sell one up at all. We don't get a dime off of them. As a matter of fact, we give away our affiliate price and a discount that we proffered for everyone, and we give you a 25% discount on their monthly fee as long as you're with Viper. Okay, so we're giving that away. So, this doesn't cost, me anything or make me anything at all. Okay? Well, technically it costs me something because we've got a bunch of people on it and we used to get a 15% affiliate, but I gave that up because I wanted to give it to you. Just a nice guy, huh? All right. Okay, but anyway, also you want to look at this deal right here. Okay, if you go to their FAQs, and once you actually get to the funded, for instance, funded trader rules, you got to be real careful because, they allow certain instruments at certain times. Now, the times are just during the normal trading day. but you do have to follow a trailing drawdown also. Bill, I think that's maybe what you're asking about too. Because to give an example, on a $50,000 account, you would want to, let's say for instance that you hit $3,000. Okay, well you can't draw back 2,500 from there because that's their normal, drawdown is 2,500. So for instance, if you got to 53,000 and then you drew down 2,500, that shut you off anyway, even though you were still above 50, because it's a trailing type deal. Okay, and the dynamic scaling is really important because scaling is basically the way they do when they get into a funded account. They make it to where you have to, for instance, on this $50,000 account that I've got, when I first get funded, which I'm already there, but I still have to trade 4 days, I will be having to go into basically trading only 2 contracts. Okay, and I'm doing this to prove to people how easy it is. And it's kind of wasting some of my time and money because, see, I've got my own account and it's 100% mine. But I just want to show people how, if you don't have like an account, you can certainly get one. Okay. Did that answer enough questions on OneUp? Be sure and just look at their FAQ, anything about it. What if you go over 50,000, Robert S.? Well, you have to go over 50,000 because what they do is they require you to hit 53 to get funded. And let me show you what, just real quick, since people are still asking these questions. All right, you have to trade a minimum of 15 trading days. Okay, they permit all these products. These are the times they trade. Your max position size is based on your particular account. And then they have a profit target that you've got to hit, which is at $3,000. You can't hit your daily loss limit. You have to keep with a trailing drawdown, which means, just like what I was saying, if you get to 53, you can't draw back down lower than, 50,500. Even a penny would cost you that account. Okay, because, it's in real time and they look for that. Okay, and the consistency deal, this is actually pretty easy. What you want to do is you don't want to have just a super high day. And then because you have to have your next 3, not your next 3, but you must have any 3 trading days net profits total summed up to equal 80% of the largest day's net profit. Okay. So, remember when last Thursday I showed that I hit 1965 on one day? Well, that meant I had to hit 80% of that for 3 trading days that are my high trading days. And I did that today. So now I'm aced in. I'll actually be funded on this deal. All I've got to do is trade 4 more days to get to my 15 actual trading days, and then it'll be a funded account. And I'm not doing that to brag or anything like that. That's simply so that we can show people that you can go with somebody that offers money and get funded, because we teach people how to see these trades. We call them every single day. Okay, now that's probably enough time on that one. Let's see, what was the next question? Let's see. The 1, 2, 3 setup, John, I'll show you that, as a matter of fact, because let's just see if we can see one. Real quick, before that, somebody asked, how can you really tell with your power meters when the trend is actually going a certain direction? Because see, you see 3 power meters that are green and one that's red. Okay. Well, the reason for that is because of this right here. Show you. Okay. See how that took out that swing right there? Just barely. See that? Okay. That changed all 3 power meters. Because what's the definition of lightning? Well, you had a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. Now you have a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high, and it actually took out lightning 3. Now, does this mean that we're in an uptrend? No. No. And you'll be able to tell by the colors. And I think that comes in real good with one of the questions that came in about bar colors. So let's look at that. Okay, this is the chart that you were seeing just a second ago. Okay, This is the chart you were seeing a second ago. Now, is this an uptrend? No, it's not, right? Now, let me show you what a 1, 2, 3 reversal is, which is what John is asking. And keep in mind with a 4-range bar, a 1, 2, 3 reversal can literally be only about 7 ticks. Okay? Because to give an example, you have a bar up, you have a bar down. Your third bar going down breaks this swing right here, and that's a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Everybody see that? That's a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Now, if you had larger bars, of course, you'd have to have a bar up, a bar down, and break the swing, and that would be a 1, 2, 3 reversal also. You got that? Okay. Now, so a question comes in. Let's see. Oh, 4 range, Greg, that's a very good question too. And keep in mind that there is no question that won't be answered tonight. And, because let's face it, we all started, as beginning in anything that we do. Okay. So all it means, Greg, by a 4-range bar is just simply that every single bar is 4 ticks. That's why we trade range bars, because range bars make really good lightning. Okay. So, in other words, let's say that you're an aggressive trader and this was a phantom trade. Everybody knows what a phantom trade is, right? This was your entry right here. That's an aggressive entry, 1, 2, 3 reversal. Where would a conservative entry be? Anybody? A conservative entry would be right here. See how this came bar down, bar up? You're basically kind of drawing a little box like that, aren't you? Okay. Now, we're not going long on this, so we're actually turning shorts only on for right now anyway. Okay. Because to really go up, it's going to have to take out this swing right here with more than just a couple of ticks. Let's see, for a 1, 2, 3 reversal, does bar 3 have to close below the bar? For a 1, 2, 3 reversal, it does. But keep in mind on a 4-range chart, a 1, 2, 3 reversal is just simply, let's say that this bar went up and the next bar went down. Well, it's the same thing as this one did here. Let me turn this to open, high, low, close. Some people can't see the candlesticks as well. And I'll get the size of these larger. Let me see. How do you do that? Alt. There we go. All right. Notice that this bar went up. See the open on the left, close on the right. So it's up. This one opened here and closed here. So that's an up bar, a down bar, and it broke this bar on the close below this on that bar right there. That's a 1, 2, 3 reversal. And like I say, keep in mind a 1, 2, 3 reversal on a 4-range chart will fake you a lot of times too. Okay. I usually also look at, is it breaking a trend line? It hasn't really yet, but it did on this bar for sure. So I might not have taken this one just yet, but probably if this bar kind of closed down, I probably would. If you didn't already get in here, that is. Okay. Phantom trades are as close as you can get to line 6 to line 7 for a short and line 1 to 2 for a long. Let's see. Please review the coming box tool and the criteria it's looking for. Well, that's still up in the air because what I'm trying to do with the programmer is to actually get, for instance, let's say that you were just simply trading and you said, you know what, if this gets up near midband, I want the new auto box to actually take the trade. Well, the way it would work is you would tell it how many ticks away from this you wanted to actually look for the trade. So you would have to have that criteria in, because let's face it, you don't always get to midband, but a lot of times you do. See there where it hit it? So let's say that if you had it set for 2 ticks from midband on a short and same thing on a long, except the long would be above midband and the short would be below. All right. Then the way the little trader will do is it will actually fire a trade on a 1, 2, 3 reversal. So it would fire the trade there. You'd have your stop here. You almost got taken out, and then you got a little trade. Okay. I'm also going to have the programmer look at something like this to where you'll basically be able to, for instance, if these bars go straight up, I'm going to see if he can make it to where it actually sees a trend line break too, so he can get in a little earlier. I'm going to try to get all this done where it'll just, automatically look for these things. But, this is still kind of in the thinking stage right now. It's being looked at. The documents have been sent to the programmer. He knows what I want, but I haven't gotten anything back from him yet. Is that a while off, Dan? I hope not, but my programmer was on vacation for 2 weeks. We just had a Memorial weekend. I haven't heard a word from him since he went on vacation, even though he said he would get back with me as soon as he got back. Let's see, you always put stop above swing on a 1, 2, 3 reversal. Don't close if it goes back in the box. Okay, Brian, on your question, like this one right here, for instance, if you were to get in on this 1, 2, 3 reversal, you would actually have your stop just above this. You can usually, look to the left to trade the right, maybe even put it a couple of ticks above it. Okay, that way, if they wick you, they might not get you. Okay, but a 1, 2, 3 reversal is not a bad little trade as a rule. To give an example, like at mid-band, so you had a bar up, a bar up, a bar up. You never got a bar down to get a reversal here. But if you would have just fired a trade the moment you got to mid-band, you would have given up. See what I mean? You would have gotten stopped out. So we're always looking for, a reversal of what's happening. In other words, it's going up, it needs to start going back down. Let's see here, just a second. Now, Rob, did I get a good answer on that detailed description of my one-up trading? By showing that? Bear with me a second. Okay, I'll go over that too, Robert, in just a moment. Let's see. Okay, see the red, blue, and yellow bars? Can you talk about the bar colors, what they mean, and what you look at when you see the red, blue, and yellow bars? Thanks. Okay. And Rob, if you need any more on that one up, I'll be more than happy to still show it. Okay, because I've got my actual account, where I just have to pull it up. Okay, so Mario, on your question, now what you're looking at when you're looking at backgrounds, let's go into backgrounds first. First off, when you've got a green background, these red bars are just deep retracements. And this could easily head straight back up. Okay, because we take these type of trades, for instance, you can take it on a bar close back to the upside. We used to do that all the time. Let's see. Lauren, on your question, I'll get to that in a minute too about OT indicators that we have. Sure. And I can try to go over that. Okay. But what you're looking at when you're looking at these bar colors, let's go back to candlesticks. I don't like anything but candlesticks myself. Let me get these smaller. There we go. All right. For instance, let's say, Mario, that you walked into your trading room and you saw this happening right here. Okay. So you start looking at lightning, okay, and bar at a time, see how it's still heading down. Now there's your lightning right there. See it? You could actually turn on the power meter. Now keep in mind, this is not where I'm at right now, but you just keep following it. And pretty soon you get a little up move. See what I mean? That's a deeper retracement with a red bar probe is all that is. Okay. Now, opposite of that, when it turns blue in a short like this is actually looking at a deeper retracement, but still on a short background and a short mid-band. That's actually not to go long. That's actually to go short. Now, could you have gone long on this trade? Well, if you would have been looking at swings, you probably could have, because see how it came down and kissed that one and then popped off of it? You could probably pop along. But to stay with the trend, you'd actually be shorting this. Okay, so in other words, blue bars, when they're on a long trend, they're basically trending up pretty nicely. Anytime you get the blue bars, you're doing pretty well because the thing's really heading up. When you're yellow bars, you're a little bit more of a sideways, okay? A little bit more neutral. And you're looking for these trades here, this trade here, anywhere around mid-band. I personally like lightning real well, so, if you draw it in your mind or draw it on the chart, you can see that lightning was broken. If you drew your line, you had a lightning right there, then it went down a little bit further, then you had a lightning down here, and see it finally broke it. And we've got a tool that'll actually trade that anyway. Now, the reason this did this, by the way, is because of must have been when it opened at 5 p.m. Okay, you have any more questions on those color bars? Because the way we designed Viper is that we wanted bar colors that would let us see the deeper retracements, the medium retracements, and also the great moves. So on a green background, mid-band's nice color and everything for an uptrend, those blue bars are nice to see. Because notice when this broke out of this consolidation right here, you finally got these blue bars. Okay? And you got a retrace in the mid-band, you popped up again, and you could take this trade off the table right through here. Yeah, the yellow bars make you nervous because you didn't know what they mean. Okay, well, the yellow bars are really, really good because you're looking for yellow bar probes on long trades and yellow bar probes on short trades. Why is the mid-band blue? Good question. Let me see. I think I threw you ahead of one, but I'll go ahead and answer that anyway, Greg. I saw your question come in. The mid-band changes. There are actually 6 colors on mid-band. Okay, the 6 colors on mid-band are your lime green, your blue, and your yellow for your long. See that actually still turned yellow right there. Okay, then you have your 3 colors for short, your magenta and your red and your rose. You haven't gotten a rose yet. I'll see if I can find one for you. Yeah, here's rose right here. Okay, now the reason that they go blue or red is session high and session low. It's that simple. And they're still trending in the long direction if it's blue, and they're trending in the short direction if it's red. Okay, so that red mid-band simply means that for this particular session, this was our, this actually hit a low when this saw this. Here's where the market opened, was right here. Let's just go ahead and draw that right there. Okay, but this low right here, see, was the session low. So this sees this, even right here, that sees that as a session low because basically it opened right here, and see that bar went below that. So it saw that and turned it red. Everybody see that? Let me show it a little bit closer if you didn't. Okay, see when this turns red, see that's magenta, that's red, and you'll notice that this went below this little swing here, and it probably did it fairly quickly, so you actually got that red. Okay, but it's just telling you it's a session low. The session opened here, and the low at that time was here, so the moment it breaks this, it goes red. Same thing on the blue side. You'd have to go all the way back to the beginning of the day to see it, and we might not be able to do that. Yeah, we can. All right, notice that you had basically started out right in here and hit this high here, and you've got this nice blue over here. So basically, it had to break this blue area, didn't it, over here? And see, that's pretty much what it did. Let me see. See right here, you're basically turning blue. If you move your deal right where it did turn blue, it was on that bar right there. So see, it broke my line. So that went to another session high is what that means, and was trending up beautifully. Okay, anybody have any questions on that one? That was a good one, by the way, because a lot of people, you know, I mean, the whole thing is you just can't take everything, just by faith alone. You got to kind of know how the system works. I mean, you can see it time and time again that we call great trades, but, we designed this thing. Okay, let's see here. Missed you too this morning, Kenneth. Kenneth says, missed us this AM, first miss in over 2 years, had a doctor's appointment, but still up 5 times. Good deal. So you traded after you got back from the doctor? It had a monster drop after the room closed. Stealth was actually invented, Brian, on your question. Stealth was actually invented because basically what you're looking at on this chart, see when you get this final push up, you got this green stealth and everything, you start getting a red stealth, a red stealth, a red stealth. You see what I mean? They're finally losing all this momentum, and you're going to finally get that downtrend. So we basically use it, kind of as a barometer to know, which direction we should be looking. Okay. The reason it was actually invented on here, and we even make it to where it, if it's not rising or dropping at a certain rate, you can actually see that there's no stealth in here. Maybe a green, a red, a blank spot, a green one again. That's pretty much telling you it's just sideways. And you can pretty much tell that anyway by, just drawing your lines on your chart. Okay, let's see. Is that okay on that explanation? Now, stealth trader actually, we have a trader inside the object trader that will fire these stealths. Okay. For instance, you could have fired it on this bar. You could have fired it on this bar. You could have fired it on this bar. Okay. See, if you draw your line, you'll see them. See, right when that turns red, that's the bar. Let's see. This is the bar right here. And this is the bar right here. Okay. That's when that, and you can actually auto trade that. Why is there a break in stealth? Because it's looking at several things, and I don't want to go into too much about, some of the proprietary part of it, and it's not super proprietary as far as that goes, but it's actually looking at some, what I just call oomph, where you get a little bit of, good movement, and you get a good slope to it. Okay. And we're in the process of developing a stealth that is changeable on the fly. And you could get some really good trades with that. It's not something that I've gotten done yet, unfortunately. And I'll tell you what, if somebody could babysit my programmer's kiddos, or take his wife out to dinner or something like that, would probably get a lot more done. But he's a busy man, I can tell you that. And unfortunately, since he actually wrote most of these scripts, and he definitely wrote all of Object Trader, there is nobody that can even do anything with it, because it's got a whole bunch of lines of code in it, and a normal programmer would probably look at it and just kind of throw his hands up and say, I'm going to have to really study this thing, and this is going to cost you, $200 an hour for me to do something with this. So we stick with our programmer. Okay, so let's see. Would you enter at the close of the third on a 1, 2, 3? Yes, Chuck, on your question. I'd like to add that to Object Trader, because that could be, a really good trade. For instance, let's see. You'd have to be careful with 1, 2, 3 though. Let's see, because that's an up, a down, and that one actually took out the low of that. So I doubt if I'd want to short that there. So you probably want to do it with bigger bars if you actually added it to Object Trader as an actual trade. Let's see. How you trade the predictor ovals, top versus bottom of oval and midlines. Good question there, Robert. Let me show you what we're talking about on that. Let's go ahead and get over to the side of the chart here. Okay, for instance, let's say that you were trading with the trend. Okay, let's go ahead and put Object Trader on. Okay, if you were trading with the trend, okay, and let's say, for instance, that you saw this coming up right here. You just started trading, I don't know, at 6 o'clock. Here's one right here that might have fired and it might not have yet. But the way this actually works is if you turn on predictor, and you have to realize that predictor is simply a region. So you got to be careful. For instance, if you turn on predictor and you turn this on and you turned it, for instance, with some contracts or whatever, this is actually looking at a long outside this little box here and a short outside the bottom. Okay, if you don't turn anything else on. Now, if you tell it to go trend specific, it will not take a short here. Now, keep in mind, this is not the side of the chart that we're actually on. But if we turn this on back here, this would have turned on the long and turned the short off, because this required trend simply tells Object Trader that I'm going to require mid-band on bar close, PM lightning, and predictor and stealth. Okay, and what that would simply do is it would only look for this long outside, okay, instead of actually taking a short if it took out the bottom. Okay, let's go over here to the one that's actually showing. This one right here, for instance, would simply take a short right here. Let's say that if you turned it on touch +2, okay, this would take the trade at 2 ticks from this stealth right here, or pardon me, this predictor, which would be right in that area, but it would only do it if it ticked back below it, and it didn't until right here. Okay, so that's where it would have fired that trade on that bar right there. Okay, this one never got it. This one never got it either. But if you did turn on stealth, or pardon me, predictor, matter of fact, let's just leave it on. Let's just see if it'll fire a trade. I'll leave predictor on. Let's do 2 for the fun of it. Let's just see, because the way it's set up right now, this is a region right here, and this is simply looking for a long outside the box, but since I've got mid-band turned on, you can't even get a long. See, it won't turn on. Okay, so if it goes below this predictor, it will fire a short. Now, to me, that's late. I like a retracement trade, not a breakout trade. Okay, but let's see if it'll fire it, just for the fun of it. Let's see here. When you look to the left to trade the right, what all are you looking at, and how far back do you go, or should you go? Well, David, on your question, it depends if you're actually looking at the micro or the medium swings or secondary swings. Because to give an example, like, here, it's pretty obvious that they have resistance right up here. And see, I would short that line, as a matter of fact. I'm fairly aggressive. And if I saw this happening and I saw that bar close back down below that line, I'd short it. Okay, because it held resistance. Okay, now this is not going to fire until it takes this out. Okay, because predictor was designed more for a retrace trade, rollover. Okay, this is going to be a breakout trade because we were already way up here. Now we would have already fired this trade even on this box. Okay, but I'm going to show you how the predictor will actually still work on that if it goes below it. Now, very shortly, we're going to have a mid-band trade that will look for these mid-band type trades. And I think you'll like it, because we're going to try to build some algorithms into it and everything, and do just like we call out when we box them in. For instance, if you're, you got a short background, you could have it to where it'll be an auto and it'll use the mid-band. See, this is going to fire if that closes. That's way too late to me. And that didn't fire yet, though, did it? Tried. Let's do a touch +2 out of it. Let's see, I'm using O2 Renko bars exclusively. A bit confused about whether I should change the parameters from 4 range to match the O2 Renko bars. To match the I use for OT Trader and Lightning indicators. Okay. Kenneth, on your question there, are you talking about like for predictors and things like that? Because, okay, let me go. Let's see if this fires real quick so I can prove my predictor type trade. You know, like I say, that's too late, but it's like boxing in at mid-band, I guess. But let's see if it fires. Touch +2 and we'll have a trade. Unless we run out of predictor, we might have run out of predictor. That's the only thing I don't like about predictor trade, because see, this predictor's way back here. Now it hasn't actually fired another one yet, but it may be thinking about it. So we may not get this trade. We'll find out. I'll just draw the box on out just to see if it'll fire. Now keep in mind, my box is not what fires it. I'm just looking at this predictor. See if it'll fire. If one's not drawing yet, it should, because you know, when I had this designed, I told the guy that I wanted it to look at this predictor, and then if another one draws, it would look at that predictor instead. Let's see, when you look at lightning for taking out swings, which lightning is the micro level do you look at? Okay, that'll be a good one too. I don't think that's going to fire. That predictor's too far out. Now, I do like them when they first trend change. See that trade right there? That would be a perfect predictor trade. Touch +2, predictor, you going to fire? It's way out past it, so it may have timed out. Let me speed it up and see if it will at all. Probably not. No. It's way too far past it. That's why we box. And that's also why I'm working on a phantom trader that'll look for this trade right here first time after trend changes, unless you turn it on. I think we're going to have it to where you're going to be able to tell it how many ticks you want it from or through phantom, and just how big you want your box, or if you want a 1, 2, 3 reversal. And to me, that'll be a good trade, because this trade right here can be a phenomenal trade. See, that's already up. If you're talking about oil, that's a $400 trade. Okay, let's see here. So notice why we didn't get that, by the way. That predictor was just too late, is all there was to it. And that's the one thing, like I say, I don't personally like about predictor. I use it more for this first time in. I'll turn it on a lot of times when it does that. But when we get our mid-band trader, we'll probably be doing away with this one anyway. Okay, let's see here. Just one second. I'll get to that too, Mario. Mario's asking about high energy times. And David was asking, when you look to the left to trade the right, what all are you looking at and how far back do you go, or should you go? Okay. So basically, there's a little knack to it that you just kind of pick up after a while. To give you an example, you know, I can pretty much tell where this next trade is going to be just by how many times I've looked at charts. You know, where is lightning on this chart? Let's look at it. Okay, lightning is right here. High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, but it hasn't drawn yet. But wouldn't you think more than likely that you're not going to take out that swing, and more than likely you're going to test between these two lines? That's what I call looking to the left to trade the right. Let's see if this doesn't get a trade right in this area. I'll change the color of the box even so it's more legit, so we know that that's what we're looking for. Let's see if we get something, and I'll fire it if I see it. See, because when you're trading, you know, you're looking for these thrust down, little retrace, little thrust down, little retrace. Never let it take out the swing, you know, before, To give an example, if you shorted this thing like under here where we talked about it, your stop was here. Then it thrusts down, back up and down, your stop's here. Thrust back up and down, your stop's here again. See how that works? Let's see if that doesn't give us a trade. Just for the fun of it. I'll kick it up to about 10 times. I just shorted it. Now that's an aggressive trade that I just took, but see, I drew that ahead of time. Okay? That's definitely not a bad way to see on your charts. That's looking left to trade the right. Now keep in mind that when you're looking left to trade the right, you're looking on the right side of the chart and you're looking at the left side of the chart. Okay? So in other words, a retracement, you've got a down move, then an up move, then a rollover, right? So you're looking to the left to trade the right. See how they just barely took out that swing? So you have a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So this swing shouldn't be taken out, but what they end up doing is they test them. See how they're testing that swing? This is actually not your swing right here. This, remember, you have to kind of break this to have that swing. Okay, so this is your swing on the left, micro, because it never took this out enough to make this your swing. And this is your secondary swing right here. And notice how they respected it. I found in trading 4-range bars that they respect the second swing back most every single time if they're going to still head the direction they were heading. Okay, now if you got in though, like where I did, well, your stop could be here, obviously. That's only a few ticks. See what I mean? Now, also keep in mind though that lightning draws with swings, which means that if there's no swings, lightning doesn't draw. Okay, now when we talk about swings though, let me show you what we're talking about. All right, let's draw lightning 1 over here. Notice how you have a swing. See, anytime you get a bar back and a bar back up, you've got a swing on a 4-range chart. That's your lightning 1. Okay, but what if this just went straight up without ever doing a little pullback? Well, then you got to be careful and you got to, look to the right more than you look to the left. Let's see, how can you tell the 2 low bars back won't be a new higher low swing? Well, keep in mind, Chuck, on your question there, that you're still looking at shorts on this chart, okay, because you've got this red midband and they're not really taking out secondary lightning at all where I drew my line. Let's see if it works out just for the fun of it. I'll speed it up. See there? And now you'd put your stop just right above that swing right there, and it stopped you. That's fine. Would you get back in again? Absolutely. Matter of fact, well, it's a little late because it's going fast, but I would have done it right there on that little rollover. And you still got another good trade. There you go. Okay, see how that works? Okay, L1 is micro, L2 is secondary, L3 is actually more your trend. Okay, so when you're looking at lightning 1, you're looking simply at these 4-range bars. Let me go to that little diagram that I show all the time. Okay, this diagram right here really nails it home. Okay, this is lightning 1, this is lightning 2, and this is lightning 3. Okay, so when you're trading, basically your micro swing on lightning 1 is pretty much your secondary swing on lightning 2, or close to it. Let me just see if I can draw a line across there. I probably can't because this thing won't let you do lines and things like that. But if I was to draw that across here, that's pretty close. See there? That's secondary swing. That's what I found, just eyeing charts for the last, many, many years and years and years. is that your micro, this is your micro swing, this is your secondary swing. Okay, this is your micro swing on a Lightning 2 chart, and that's your secondary. Okay, but technically that's your secondary swing on a Lightning 1. Everybody see that? Okay, because you'll notice most every move, what do? Anybody? Anybody gets it, we'll give you a prize. I don't know what prize to give you, so I'll just answer it. A, B, C. A, B, C. Notice this. A, B, C. Okay, so for a larger Lightning 2, you're getting an A, or you're getting an ABC on a smaller chart. Everybody see that? Knock out the swing and probe. I'm not sure, Mark, what you're asking there. See if you can try to rephrase that, or maybe somebody else will ask me and I'll answer it. To answer your question, oh, absolutely. Now, keep in mind, if you're a very aggressive trader, okay, your stop can be right here. Okay, a little bit less aggressive trader that wants to keep his runner running uses secondary or Lightning 2. Okay, that's pretty much your secondary swing. Now, it's not going to be exact science all the time, but I can tell you this, that it works quite well. So, if I was trading, let's say that I got in right here. Let's just say that we saw this was a mid-band trade and we took it. Would you be out of the trade yet? No, because isn't that trending upward? Now, you could draw trend lines under your lows, and if it broke that, you could get out. Okay. Everybody see what I'm talking about this? Because this is, I think, one of the most important things to learn is this Lightning stuff. Okay. Because some of our traders that have really become really, really good, that are hitting 5 times, 10 times their goals, things like that, have really taken this to the bank. Okay. So if anybody has any questions on it, please let me know. For instance, let's say that you were really wanting to go for a gusto trade and you didn't care if they pulled back a lot. Well, if you happen to box this trade in down in here, bear with me a second, draw again. I killed that chart because it had so much on it. But if you would have boxed this in down here, like over here on this number 1 Lightning, could you actually ride this thing literally all day? Let's say that it just shot up a good 40 ticks and you're on oil, so you're up like $400. Okay, so you don't really care, and you want to stay in it for the gusto. Could you actually ride a trade like this? See what I mean? And literally stay in it, put your stop. Sure. And we've even got numbers on there, but keep in mind, to do that, you're going to draw back 30 ticks or better. Okay? But sometimes you'll find you could stay in oil all day long. Just look at Lightning 3. But a better way to do it is, if it breaks this, then wait for it to come back down here where it broke out. See there? And more than likely it will, and then you box it in again. And that's probably mid-band. Any questions on that? Okay. Let's see. Did real-time CL just give a 1, 2, 3 reversal signal? I don't have real-time on right now, Robert. I'd have to switch the data feed, and usually in webinars so that we can actually teach it, I show it like this. It did? Okay. Did you get it, John? I'll tell you what, real quick, let me tell Linda to pull it up on my other computer, and she'll bring it in here, a little laptop. I'll just tell her I'll be right back. Okay, she's going to bring in a laptop here in just a few minutes. and we'll see. Let's see here. Bear with me. Explain target and stop. Oh, how they work? Bear with me a second. And I'm going to get to your question too, Mario, on high energy times. Now, what I personally like, by the way, let me go ahead and answer his because his was actually first. Mario, on your question about high energy times, basically what we have is we get these calculations done on the way the market acted. Bear with me just a second. I'll pull up today's because I already I put them in these little Word docs each day. Okay, so here's your high energy times for Tuesday. Okay, now what I personally like is I like 7:59 Central. Now keep in mind these are always Pacific time because my partner lives in California, which is Pacific time, and the guy that does these HE times for us also is in Pacific time. Okay, so what you actually do is you just simply look at the time you're going to trade, and this will draw a box, this will draw a box, this will draw a box, and be sure and add to your particular time, because this would be 4:15 in the morning for me, 6:22 in the morning, and 8:35. Okay, and the way you do those is just simply look at your chart. Let's go ahead and do them real quick. Bear with me a second. Did I kill it? No, I got it right here. Let's go with, okay, so this would be 2:33 in the morning and 4:15 in the morning. So let's just draw those. 2:33. Bring your indicator up. Regions. Make sure on the proper date. We'll just go ahead and put that in. So 02:33. And we're going to go for 4:15. 04:15. And the next one is 6:22. So this one's 06:22 my time. So let's see where those went. Okay. Of course, we haven't had any but one, have we? Let's get rid of this one. So here's your high energy time right here, basically, and you wouldn't be looking for longs, right? Okay, so be careful. Don't just box it in and take a long when the background and everything and lower highs and everything, you don't want to be taking long. So you'd be looking basically to box this in and take the trade. You know, it's just a little box that draws at a particular time. Now let's see real quick. Let's go ahead and go to our next high energy time was 4:15. It's 3:55, 4 o'clock, 4:15 right there. Okay, that's your 4:15. And basically what I'd do if I was doing this one, I would put my box. See, you can clearly tell that you have a low, a high, a higher low. If they take this out, I would just simply box it like this instead. You want to see if it works? What do you think? Let's just try it for the fun of it. I'll go ahead and box it in. We'll do it with a region. Click Insert. Stretch my region. Stretch it out to the swing. And let's do close. Let's just see if something actually fires on this one. And by the way, if you don't want to get faked in, you can always do this too. Make it a little bit more this way and even a little bit more that way. Simply because, you know, a lot of times they'll just barely fake you in. It's irritating. Let's see if we get something one way or the other. Looks like it may be short. Maybe, maybe not. Held that support. That's a high energy time right there. But keep in mind, even if you set this for your high energy time with Time Trader, you can still stretch your box however you want it. Okay, now that that's holding this support right under here, I would probably resize my box, and I might even resize it like this now, because it's pretty much staying in that resistance area too. See if we get something one way or the other. Let me see how I'm doing on questions, because there are quite a few came in. Y'all did really well on these. See, high energy times, the way they're actually designed. Who was asking that just a second ago? I apologize. Let's see. Mario. Mario, on your question about high energy times, we actually have some proprietary calculations that we do on the markets every single day. And these are based on a lot of criteria. I've actually done these high energy times before myself, and there's a lot to it. It takes, I'd say a good 45 minutes to an hour to get these numbers. And they're basically just times that the market should, well, there you go. Just got a long out of that one. Now, will it work? Well, let's see. Let's get a target out of the way. We'll get a target up to the top where the swing is. I'd even go here. Swing to the left. Like that. Let's just see. Fast forward it a little bit and see if we get anything on this trade. Looky there. High energy time. Okay, everybody see how you do that as far as, boxing it in. Notice that I didn't use the little box itself. I actually stretched it according to my lightning. Now, guess what else you could actually do too? You could actually use stealth. See how stealth turned green and then green again? Okay. Now, let's say that we're in this trade right now, but we want to get out. See how this hit this predictor right here? We don't know how much higher this is going to go. These predictors, by the way, are really good at calculating thrusts and retraces. For instance, well, I would be putting my stop just under here. And since I've got a swing right here, I'd probably put it right up there. Everybody see why on that? Because if this, well, for one thing, it's way up anyway, and I don't want to give a bunch of it back. You don't have to wait for mid-band for a pullback, because there's nothing more disheartening than having, say, 2 contracts left and let it pull back 24 ticks. You just watch your $500 disappear. And even if it's one contract, you still watch it disappear. For every thrust, there's a pullback, and you've got to basically go with lightning. Let's see, you said up front that it was obviously a higher low. I still have a hard time picking the swing that it broke to show it going to a higher low. Okay, I'll show you. Basically, right here, you got this double bottom. Okay, so technically it started breaking when it broke this, but you're not going to go long there, because you're going to get a thrust, a pullback. See how this is actually a thrust, higher low. Now, could you have actually taken this obviously also here? Yes. See how it broke that swing right there? But keep in mind that we boxed in around mid-band, plus that was a high energy time. Okay, high energy times are pretty good about market turnarounds and continued movements. Let's see how this trade went. Now let's see if everybody can figure out, looking to the left to trade the right, where this is going to go. I'll draw you some lines before it ever gets there. Can't go lower than this by much, okay? So that's about that swing there. And it can't go any lower than this one. Right now, this is your micro swing, okay? If this goes up a little higher, this will be your micro, this will be your secondary. Everybody see that? Let's see if we can figure out where it's going to go. and we'll stop if it breaks lightning, and we'll watch for another trade. I'm going to get this out of the way. We don't know where it's going. Everybody see why I'm bringing that up there like that? Now I'm going to bring it up here. Or you could just turn on power meter either way. Looks like it's going to get us. There's power meter, just went red. You're out. Okay, now let's draw on this chart and see if we can figure out where it's going. Okay, you have a swing over here on the left, right here also. So let's pull it down to that. That's the immediate left. All right, you've got a swing right here that is actually what I consider to be your micro here, your secondary here. Okay, so you really don't expect it to break this. So this is actually a little sweet spot to me. Let's look at it. Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. I would say here, here, and no lower than here. If we get a phantom, that is. So this is kind of a little area that I'd be looking for a trade just by looking at this. That's if we break micro, see, which we are. When they break micro, they'll usually go down to the secondary. And all you've got to do as a trader, though, you know, let's face it, I've kind of drawn on my chart where it's supposed to bounce, but what could you also use? The box. So what we'll do is we'll draw a region, and we'll do insert, and we're not going to take it here. We're going to try to get down to mid-band, and then we're going to just keep drawing this box until it fires. That's what I'm hoping the new auto feature will do absolutely automatically. And if it does, it's going to be the greatest thing we've ever had. But if it needs some work or whatever, we'll still do it manually for a while. Pardon me just one sec. Okay, you got resistance right here on lightning. See it to the left? Let me draw it. Right here. So it would have to take that out to head up, and I don't like breakout trades, so I'm going to see if, oh, and by the way, could you have actually, now is that a 1, 2, 3 reversal, down, up, and then that one still went down though? See, so that didn't actually break. That's not a 1, 2, 3 reversal. But keep in mind that your most important trade is going to be at or near mid-band on a long, okay, and at or below mid-band on a long, or at or above mid-band on a short. Now, when I get this kind of a move like this, I also like to do this to see where it should be going. Look at that box I drew. Now, I drew that based on swings, not based on fibs. Everybody see that? So I expect it now to go here to this 38% retracement. Because keep in mind, whenever they thrust this much, they're not going to just come to mid-band more than likely. Now, could you box this in? The answer is yes. Okay, so we're actually looking for longs. We're not going to get our bottom made yet until this thing gives up the ghost or pops up. So we've got our long turned on this way, but we don't know how far this is going to go down yet. So how many bars have to draw to see a 1, 2, 3 reversal? It's the same number of bars, Robert, but what you got to do is you got to close below the third one. Okay, so if you look at this one right here, you had a down bar, an up bar, so that started the 1, 2, 3 count. But see, this didn't actually close above this bar right here, okay? And it also closed down instead of up. So now you've got a down bar. You're trying to get an up bar. So let's see if it does a 1, 2, 3. We're going to have to speed this up a little bit, and we're going to end this in just a moment. I'll put it about 50 times. Hopefully it's not too fast for us to get the trade. Okay, see that's actually a down bar and up bar, so it would have to close above that to be a reversal. Let's see what you get. Still not, right? Still not. Now it would be here. If it gets down to that, see how it hit right in my boxes that I wanted? And there you go, you got your trade. Everybody see that? Now, of course, we hit all our targets, so we don't care. I mean, this is replay, but see how I diagnosed that in real time, okay? We were looking for, and keep in mind when they get a good move like that, these shallow retracements, be sure and check your fibs, because fibs, usually your 38% or your 50 is going to be a really good area to jump. Now, could this do a 38 and bounce like crazy? Well, it could. Let's see if it did. We'll just fast forward it. Came right back down, almost tested it again, didn't it? Look at that. I'll say it did. Look at that. Okay? That's the way you do that particular deal. Okay? Now, what we're going to do with the 1, 2, 3 reversal, I think what I really want to do with it is pretty much make it to where a 1, 2, 3 has got to be at least like 8 ticks. But I'm going to be talking to the programmer on that. He knows algorithms a lot better than I do. Okay, let's see. I can't tell on the blue bars where they open and close. Greg, on your question, if you can't really tell where they open and close, like this one went down, see, the way a candlestick does is it opens, for instance, like it opened right here, it wicked up, and then it closed here. This one actually opened here, wicked down, and closed at the same spot. This one, just 1 second. Let's let it close. See, this is an up bar so far, right? Let me speed it up just a little bit. Okay, see, this one opened here, wicked down, and then closed here. Okay, and you can tell that after it forms. But if you have any troubles with that, just go right here and do open, high, low, close. And then do your Alt key and your down arrow to make them thicker. Okay, and then you can see where they open, they close, they open, they close, they open, haven't closed yet. See where it opened here? And then it closed here. This one opened here, closed there. This one opened here, closed there. Opened here, closed there, opened here. Hadn't closed yet. No close yet. See how that, and if you change this back to candlesticks, look what the bars will look like. See how this has a open, close? That's just going to be a little body right there. This is going to be a bigger body with a small wick. And let me show you, if you keep in mind what this one looks like right there, look at it on candlesticks. See there? See how it just did? You can tell it opened here, it wicked down, and it closed at the top. Because where it closes, okay, you'll be able to tell it opened here, closed here, but it wicked up. Okay, this one so far opened here, wicked down, and is trying to close up. Okay, but if you have any trouble seeing that, just simply click to open, high, low, close. Okay, let's see. Did I miss any question? Mario says, great webinar. Thank you. Well, I wanted it to be an open topic night so everybody would get the gist of, using the product and also, how we see things. Okay, because you can clearly make some really, really good trades. You don't have to go for runners every single time that something happens, but you do want, for instance, you don't want to buy a falling knife and you don't want to sell a rising missile. So you've got to, on these pullbacks and everything, you know, you want to get as close to like mid-band as you possibly can, you know, and then box them in. This one, you know, we diagnosed it in real time where it was going, and it came right to a 38% retracement and then popped up. And yet I had these 3 boxes drawn before it ever came down there. Let's see, OT Renko settings, Kenneth. Oh, I'll answer those here, not a problem. If you do the OT Renko bar, just go to right-click and data series. I think everybody knows that. Now, if you go to this list right here and you don't have Object Trader Renko, it's because you've got somebody else's custom Renko. Because this is actually a Type 3 bar, and NinjaTrader only lets you use one Type 3 bar. So if somebody else is using a Type 3 bar, like a mean Renko or something like that, I think I ran into one of those the other day. So if you don't have Object Trader Renko here, be sure and remove any Renko bars that you might have if you're not using them anyway. There you go. Mario says, I know someone who spent $20K to learn to trade and didn't learn any strategies, only terms and trading lingo. Yeah, I went to a trading school one time, and you know, once they mentioned $50,000, I kind of laughed and walked away. That was way back about 15 years ago. Okay, so if you change the indicator, that's true. Now, keep in mind, Kenneth, that you can still see 4-range predictors and stealth on a Renko chart if you want to. But if you do want to change those, let me show you how to do it. You just go to Renko first off. And let's say that you're using a 2 and a 4. Now, a 4 rollover is going to be a little bit larger than a 4, but not much more. Okay? And the bar size being 2 just means if they're totally going up, you know, they're going to be 2 ticks, 2 ticks, 2 ticks. But if they roll over, they can be more like 5 or 6. Okay, so let's change that to a Renko real quick. And this will be the last question here. We'll wrap. Oh, 241 you use? Okay. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, reverse on predictor, not better to use your other entries with higher and Robert, one thing about that too, keep in mind that depends on how a person trades. You can get some really good trades, you know, to begin with, just simply by, you know, waiting for these things to come down near mid-band and box them in. And they're good high probability trades too. Okay. Okay, so let's say that, let's get rid of Object Trader first off. If you do want to use Object Trader with Renko type settings, you would simply turn it to false, go up here to your predictors and your stealth, and instead of 4 range, you could actually set this for, you know, your Object Trader Renko, okay, and your bar size would be 2, 4, and I think you said 1. Okay, you'd want to do that with stealth. Now keep in mind, I have not checked this, so you know, I haven't done anything but 4 range. All right, and then you would do this at 241 also. 2. I don't know why Ninja does that. 2, 4, and 1. Okay, now keep in mind, if you do that, you're then going to have a double set of predictors. Okay, see how you have double predictors now? That's because that's a 4-range predictor and also a Renko predictor. So what you'd have to do is either turn your predictors off, just remove it, or you'd simply change these predictors to 2, 4, and 1. And then they'll be right on top of each other's. Yeah, if you don't use the predictors, it's no big deal at all anyway then. See there? Now you got your predictor set for a Renko type bar. Now notice this predictor fired, this predictor fired, that predictor fired, that predictor. It's pretty close to the 4 range anyway. 10 tick scalper. Absolutely 10 ticks. You can get wealthy doing 10 ticks on charts. Okay, let's see here. Any questions that I missed? Chuck, on your question too, one thing about it, you're going to start seeing these swings so much better. You know, for instance, like right here, see where this busted up? I draw a line right on top of that swing right there. Now, will it come back and kiss it? It came within 2 ticks. Let's see if it kisses it. See there? It even kissed it and took it out. So you got no bounce there. Wow, that's moving, isn't it? That looks like that's going to break down, by the way. See how it broke that swing right there? Anybody want to bet this is going to break down? So what are you waiting for? Well, you're waiting for a pullback of some kind, right? So let's see if we can get one. And then we're going to wrap. And this is Renko chart, so let's see. Got it going about 100 times. Got to get a retrace. Looks like that's coming to retrace. There's your retrace. Okay, so let's see if we can get a trade on here. You want to? All right, so right now we would simply draw a region. And right now I see it right under here. I don't see it going long until it takes this out right here. So let's see if it goes up there. I'm going to set it for short, close. Let's see if we get something. No close yet. Now I'm going to reset. Well, it's too late. I was going to reset my box right here. See that phantom trade? Perfect. You would have actually entered the trade right here, but I had it going too fast. That's where you would have entered it right there on that bar. Is it too late to enter it? I wouldn't be afraid of it because I'd enter it right there if it broke that line. You want to see if we can get it anyway? Broke the line. There's 10 ticks. Bingo. Everybody see that? Pretty easy to do, don't you think? Now, where's the next trade on the chart just based on what we just taught? Well, let's see. You got a predictor right here. You got support right there that's now resistance. So I'd be looking right up in there. Let's see if we can get one more. And then we're definitely going to wrap this. This will prove how good we are at looking at our charts. Oh, missed it right there perfectly at my line. Got it going 100 times though. There you go. Everybody see how to do that? Draw it in real time. Look at your swings. You can see swings on Renko bars. You can see them on 4-range charts. Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's see. Have you noticed that if a new predictor prints higher or lower, the next swing is higher or lower too? Oh yeah, because it's actually looking at swings, Chuck. It's actually looking at swings. It's looking at Fibonacci retracements. It's looking at Fibonacci extensions. It's looking at all that. All right, I think I got everybody. Hope if I didn't, I'll even answer them in the room tomorrow. How's that? Because this ran about 18 minutes late. I apologize for that. All right, this was Open Topic Training. Thanks everybody for coming.